The first one I'm going to call out is magicthumbnails.com. So this is really cool. You can basically generate YouTube thumbnails with AI. So you can write the title of the video, what happens in the video, and then it'll show you, you can pump up like 40, 80, 120, 240 thumbnails if you want. And it'll cost you $5 to generate these thumbnails for 40, $10 for 80. So it looks like it's 40. For every 40, you pay $5 or so. And so obviously, you know that people like the Mr. Beast of the world are spending a lot, like an arm and a leg when it comes to thumbnails, and they're testing the hell out of things. And if they don't like the thumbnails, they will fly all the way to an island. And if they don't like the video, they don't like the thumbnail, they'll scrap it and they'll fly back to the island to do the video again for 24 hours. That's how crazy they are. But you don't have to be crazy like that. You can just use this tool, magicthumbnails.com.
Another one is Phrase. So what Phrase does, it allows you to create personalized AI content for every little thing with the purpose of testing and optimization. So yes, you already know about things like ChatGPT to help you create AI content, but what about creating AI content for every little thing and testing it to figuring out what converts the best and produces you the most revenue? And that's what Phrase helps you with. So just imagine this. You got a landing page. What's the best headline? What's the best image? What's the best CTA? What's the best paragraph text? What's the best testimonials? And testing all of that. And that's what Phrase can help you with.
All right. Number 3 from my end is Jasper.ai. So Jasper.ai, they are valued at over 1.25 billion now. It's a little shaky now that they're built off of GPT-3. Who knows what happens with all this stuff? But they have, I believe they have the best UX of all the AI tools out there. So when it comes to creating headlines, when it comes to creating blog posts and things like that, it's very simple. It's very intuitive to use. I hope everything works out for them long term. I love the team. They raised a lot of money recently. So best of luck to them. Check out Jasper.ai because I love it.
And then I also want you to check out 7th Sense. So you send emails. All right. So let's say you send someone an email. They haven't been in their inbox for a long time. Let's say you send it Friday night and they decide not to check it on Saturday and Sunday. They go into work on Monday. They have a lot of emails. Do you think that they're going to check your email? Maybe, but the chances are they're going to be like, oh, I got too many emails. Let me mark some of these as read and I'll look at the important ones and look at the ones that are at the top of my inbox. So what ends up happening is you create all this effort to write your emails. You create all this effort to collect these email addresses, and then you send it, a lot of people don't open it. So you don't get the open rates. If you don't get the open rates, you're not getting the click rates, which means you're not generating the revenue. What 7th Sense does is it helps ensure their emails get delivered at the right time for each customer. So they're looking at a lot of data on figuring out when, let's say I send an email to Eric, when Eric likes seeing his emails, opening them up, and then when I send out my emails, it then sends it at the right time. So it connects with tools like HubSpot, and it'll trigger out when the email should be sent to maximize your open rates based on using all this data to figure out when people should receive emails and when they should not. And that's super important because if you start getting extra 10, 15, 20% lift in your open rates, that means you're going to get more clicks and you're going to generate more revenue from each of the emails that you send out.
All right, last one, and I'm actually going to give a bonus as well. There's a tool here called adcreative.ai. So artificial intelligence powered ad and social creative. So you can see here, like this brand is Under Armour. You can see that they can make like nice ads, creatives. These look pretty legit. You have one for WeWork over here. For Tesla, this looks pretty legit. And so the fact that you can spin this up quickly, if you know how to prompt, it's really about, again, asking the right questions to the AI. If you know how to prompt correctly, you know how to ask the right questions, you're going to be able to get really good results here. The next tool I want to call out here is SEO.ai. It kind of reminds me of Surfer SEO, but it seems like it's automated. So make SEO enhanced content at light speed. So it gives you an SEO score over here. And it seems like it will do the work for you to an extent. You know, I was reading one of the reviews over here. You know, someone said, and by the way, I haven't tested this one yet, which is why this is a bonus. But someone said, you know, I use this, and then like a week later, I was page 1, right? Obviously, your mileage may vary. It might have been for a very uncompetitive keyword, but I think we're going to see more stuff go in this direction. And we'll probably see like the Ahrefs, the Uber suggests, you know, the SEMrushes of the world probably implement stuff like this. But if you want a kind of a leg up to get on this quickly, you can probably check out SEO.ai. Go ahead, Neil.
And one more, if you want another bonus, check out OptiMove. So there's a lot of data that you're getting from all over the web. Now imagine it in one place. All right. That's not that hard to do. But the issue with data is there's just so much data. If you look at your team, what actionable insights are they giving you on a regular basis? They're probably not giving you as many actionable insights as you want. So, which means they're not really looking at the data and they're not using it to make better informed decisions. So you're not growing as fast. What OptiMove's mission is to use AI to create actionable insights and tell your team, hey, you should do X, you should do Y, you should do Z, so that way you can get better results. In essence, they're analyzing, they're pulling all your data from different sources into one place, analyzing everything, and using AI, they're telling you what your team needs to do, kind of like task. And once you complete them, you'll get better results.
Couple episodes ago, or maybe like a month or so ago, we talked about this text to video concept. And so what that means is you can input a simple text prompt and it will basically generate incredible videos for you. You're going to be able to edit them with the text as well. So I might say, generate beach, right? And make it tropical, and then make it a little greener, and then remove item, right? And then all those things will actually happen in the video itself, and you're basically able to edit through your voice. So this example is through a platform called Runway.
Let's go back a little bit. All right. So think of everyone. I want you guys to think of like stock photography or stock video website, and you'll type in the Eric example is, let's say you want to create a video of you talking in front of a beach in Hawaii. So you'll say like, show me beaches in Hawaii, and it'll show you like 5, 10, 20, whatever the number is. You pick the one you like, and you look at the image and you're like, oh, it's too bright. And I want to be talking in the beach as if it were, or let's say if it was too dark, and you're like, I want to be talking in the beach. I like this one, but if it was day. So you could end up saying, make it daytime and add the sun, and it'll add a sun to make it daytime and switch the image from nighttime to daytime. And then you're like, man, this palm tree's in the way. Remove the palm tree on the right. It'll remove the palm tree on the right. And then you can say, well, it'd be nice if there was a palm tree on the left. Add a palm tree on the left. It'll add a palm tree on the left. And then you're like, take myself and add me to it, and, mix up this video while I'm talking, and that be my background. And then you can say, add in wave sounds, right? And then it can go and you can hear the background. It'll be natural. Add in some birds chirping in the 6-second mark. That's the whole point, is think about you being able to tell a platform what you're looking for, a software or AI, and it ends up creating a video for you or image for you that you can use on social media or anywhere.
Dude, you know what's crazy? Since we're on video right now, I'm actually going to share my screen on this one. So I advise you watch this one on YouTube. Check out Marketing School on YouTube. So check this one out over here. So this is a tool called Stable Diffusion. This one is, you just typed in kneeling cat knight portrait, finely detailed armor, intricate design, silver, silk, cinematic lining, so 4K. So those of you that are listening right now, literally type all this in. It's literally a cat wearing like super nice armor, right? And here's another one. Check this one out. You can basically, using Stable Diffusion again, you can take a still image and it'll actually rotate and it'll actually make the scene coherent. Have you seen this one, Neil?
I haven't seen the rotating one.
This is okay. One more. So this one over here, I don't like horror movies. I'm pretty sure you don't either, but I can take a picture of you, Neil, and I can make you into zombie like this, right? And
that's cool.
This is using Stable Diffusion. Look at this, man. This is nuts. So anyway, let's continue on. What's our point here, Neil?
So the point is AI, it's hard for AI to be creative like a human is. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just hard. But what's cool is AI can make it where you don't need as many people doing your marketing and helping you on your designs or video content, or in essence, creatives, right? Whether it's for Instagram, YouTube, doesn't matter what platform, you can use your creativity, talk into software, type into the software, and it can help adjust and modify whatever you're looking for. It'll allow average people like Eric and I, or you, or whoever maybe, who aren't that good with design, to just be great at content creation for all platforms.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine where all this stuff is going, but I think, with Neuralink and all that, very long term, we're just going to be able to imagine something and it'll just be created. I think for right now, like we've kind of seen in the last couple of years, you would talk about Jasper.ai, so copywriting, translations, like OpenAI just released something that is gonna, I think they're gonna continue to build on it, where I can see translations happening like instantly, like real time translations. So I think that's coming long term. So I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see a lot of exciting stuff, and a lot of doors are going to open up. Google just released something super, it's called Imagine. So it's IMAGEN. So it's a generator that can produce high definition videos several seconds long. So before we kick this one off, I think it's crazy how like a couple of years ago there was nothing in this kind of AI content generation space. That you can content generate images, content AI generate videos, you can AI generate written text as well, and there's no way any plagiarism thing can detect it. So it's a lot of this crazy stuff is happening right before our eyes.
Yeah, no, I saw Google end up releasing it, and as Eric mentioned, it's spelled a little bit differently. Again, IMAGEN. But they have like examples on their website. Like you can end up being like red mug filled with chocolate hot cocoa or like iced tea, and they'll just like fill it up and create the image for you, which is kind of cool. Just think about how much easier this is going to make your video editing process and how much more affordable it's going to be. I think it'll save people a lot of money, but two, give them the content they need without having to spend an arm and a leg just paying creative people, designers, editors, etc., to create what they're looking for. And like they have really cool stuff. Like you can be like, I want to see robots in the eating right in front of the Eiffel Tower, and they will just go and create that image for you. And boom, you're off into the races. There's other players out there trying to do similar things. No one really knows who's going to be better or worse because I think it's still really in the early days. But Google does have a large index of information and they have the computer power and server power. But I think there's going to be a lot of players in this space. You watch, I bet you Adobe will be heavily in this space over time. Google will, Microsoft will. I think most of the big players will.
Yeah, I mean, to get into this space, so Facebook created something, I think it's called Make a Studio or whatever. And then this one's Imagine. And then you can see even the website itself, it's imagine.research.google.com, I believe. It's a pretty flimsy website. Same thing with the Facebook one. That's how early this stuff is. Because usually when they're pretty serious about something, they're going to put a lot of design resources into it. This looks like a page you can make on like Squarespace or something. And so it's really early right now. And
it's not even Squarespace quality. It's like GeoCities. You remember GeoCities from back
yeah, it's like GeoCities or Tripod or whatever. This is like in the 90s. But point being, look, if you want to get into this stuff, there's Runway ML. They're releasing a kind of a text to, let's call it text to creation type of thing, because it's not just images, it's also videos as well. And the cool thing too is these tools are going to allow you, let's say you're watching this video right now, it can actually expand beyond kind of the box that you're seeing right now. So it's going to kind of estimate, like guess what's around you. So it's pretty nuts. It can complete an entire picture or it can complete a movie. And so Runway ML is one. Stable Diffusion is another one. And there's actually a subreddit on it where you can basically download it and then, have it run on your system. And then this other stuff is just very brand new. But I would say the next steps for you right now, if you want to get into this, is actually spend some time over a weekend, block out some time and try out this stuff. I see a lot of my friends trying out this stuff and just posting to Twitter. Neil, have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet, but you guys should try it out and check it out. I'm going to end up doing so in like the next week or so when I travel less and have a little bit more time. And the overall goal is whenever you're creating content, it doesn't just have to be videos. You can end up using some of this stuff to just get it out there faster. And hopefully you'll spend a lot less time on editing and save some money at the same time.
There's a lot of stuff that's happened, especially in the last 12 months or so. And we think AI is going to really pick up quite a bit just moving forward in general. And it's going to change everything for marketing. And so I'll give an example first before we get started. You see the Googles, the Metas of the world, actually their AIs are machine learning, right? Machine learning is part of AI. They're doing a really good job of optimization when it comes to ads, right? There's less and less kind of human reliance there. So I would say that I believe that a marketing job that's going to be replaced in the long term is going to be people that are just solely doing the executional work on paid media. And again, this is not to try to scare people, but just when innovation comes, there's a deflationary aspect where like people are going to, lose their jobs in one area and then they have to kind of reskill into another one. So that's one area that I strongly believe long term.
Well, with paid ads, I still think that the people will be needed for a lot of the creativity side,
For sure.
a lot of the tweaking side, because the issue that you have with a lot of the platforms is they do what's best for them and not necessarily what's best for you.
So I will say I agree in the very last sentence you made. They'll do what's best for them. And also on the creativity piece, the tweaking piece, I think it's going to come down to like, how well do you tell the AI what to do using like ChatGPT prompts and things like that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing that I believe is going to end up happening is content ideation. Yes, you can end up using people for it, which a lot of companies do, but AI can actually do most of the work for you. And then you can then go and tweak the ideas. So for example, Eric and I record this podcast. We used to have someone manually go and list out ideas, and then we would pick the ones we would want and then record them. Now what we do, we just go out there, pop in some keywords and some AI tools. They'll give us a list, delete the ones we don't like, modify the ones we do like, and we're off into the races. And that helps us save so much time. Same with content creation. You can use a lot of the AI tools for content creation. We've talked about this in previous episodes. It does create duplicate content unless you are careful and you're really guiding them per paragraph on what you want created. So you got to check for plagiarism, and you got to tweak heavily. If you don't tweak heavily, the quality of the content isn't that great. And I'm telling you, you will not rank high. We've looked at a lot of data from AI sites because we have quite a few AI sites that we track. And what we found is the AI sites just don't do as well. And it's obvious, right? Like there's so much content for any keyword. Google's already really good at picking the amazing pages to rank really high. And to create really amazing pages, you need humans. I'm not saying AI can't get better than humans in the long run, but in the next 12 months, I just don't see it happening.
Yep. So actually, I want to show everyone a practical example of the last kind of 2 podcast sessions that we did. And so here you can actually see, before I started today, I was like, hey, please give me 20 podcast topics on marketing trends with catchy headlines. So it gives me these 20, right? And I'm like, okay, maybe we pick like, 3 or 4 of these. And then I was like, okay, give me another 15. And it gives me another 15 over here. And so what we had previously was someone that was actually scouring different newsletters. This person was scouring different newsletters, and then they would write in our headlines channel in Slack, and then I would pick off maybe like 3 or 4 of them. Now I just go into a tool like this, and it'll maybe get me like 60 to 70% of the way there. And then the last mile, I have to do the driving, right? It's kind of similar to what Neil's saying too with when we think about headline creation, or when we think about, topic creation, or writing email copy or subject lines and things like that, right? So it can get you 60, 70, maybe 80% of the way there, but then you need someone to do the rest. Now, I think what that's going to enable is that you're going to be able to hire people from third world countries, so lower cost, right? And then you just need to teach them how to pilot these AI tools, whether it is like Stable Diffusion to create art or maybe landing pages, or you can use tools like ChatGPT or Jasper to help you with the copy side of things. So the prediction, or one of the things I think is going to be replaced too, is the creation of landing pages at like a baseline level is going to be replaced by these tools. I still think, human creativity is going to continue to drive it because AIs need data to work off of. So creativity is going to continue to push the boundaries, but AI is not going to be that far behind. And that's going to be really good enough for, I think, 95% of people out there.
Same with the chat people, right? Like, one of our friends, Yaniv, has a company called Nextiva. And I remember him telling both Eric and I, 1/3 of their sales come from people just buying from the website. 1/3 roughly comes from phone sales, like people dialing into the 800 number. And 1/3 is coming from live chat, helping people out. When you think about live chat, you got to train people. They may not always give the best responses. You can end up doing quite a bit with some of these AI tools because they can have this big repository of information, and they look at patterns, and you can train them on their models, and they can probably do a much better job at responding to some of these requests than people. And over time, when people need to intervene, they can intervene and take it over. But at the beginning, the AI tools can answer the basic questions, and they can probably do a much better / thorough job of it.
I think the heuristic everyone should use here is, what job can really be automated ultimately, where there's a lot of patterns, there's a lot of data to work off of. To oversimplify things, when we think about the calculator, like the calculator's sole job is just to calculate numbers, and it does it better than any human being out there, right? Now we're seeing a lot of things that are a lot different. Like I'm asking it to model out the IRR of a company that is doing X revenue over Y period of time, and it literally does that, right? It gives me the formula for it too. It's kind of nuts. And to Neil's point, the final thing from my side I'll say is on customer support, going back to the Nextiva chat example, is like, look at the billions of lines like support that you've done, and just all you have to do is kind of extrapolate the highly rated customer support tickets, right? That are like 10 out of 10, like super happy, and then just pull from that data, and you have customer support right there, right? And that's not to say you shouldn't keep your top agents, but what happens to the bottom half? They're probably gonna be replaced.
And what you'll find over time is as the AI gets better and better with visual creation, Eric and I have talked about that in past episodes where you can just tell some of these softwares like, add me to a photo of a forest, remove the sunlight, make it dark, add a snake in, and add an apple in my hand. Like literally you can get that specific and they'll start modifying the image in real time and just showing you what you're looking for. You're going to start seeing things like thumbnails being easier to create, video content with things like deepfake, just a lot of, multimedia type of stuff will just be easier and easier for you to create. Or it's like, imagine AI understanding your voice, learning how you're talking, and you can just put in a topic and it can just create a podcast episode for you. It'll eventually get there. Will the quality be there? Time will tell, but it'll eventually get there where it can create mediocre content for you, a mass scale for any channel. So we talked about this in a previous episode about Chat GPT. What's really cool is one of our mutual friends, Yaniv, he has a company called Nextiva. And I remember we were talking to him years ago and he was just like, 1/3 of their sales is just made from people going on the website, buying themselves. 1/3 is roughly from the phone number and 1/3 is from chat. Chat at that time and still today was responsible for a lot of his revenue. And you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company. I think they raised $200 million from Goldman Sachs at a $2.7 billion valuation back in 2021. It was something like that. That was their first round of capital that they took. Chat is super powerful. Yes, it's boring, it's ugly, but it still works. Now, the issue or the problem with chat more so is you need people there 24/7 because you never know when your customers have questions or potential customers have questions. And the second thing is how accurate are the responses? So you don't want to really automate things the old way using like, hey, let's do canned responses because those didn't work too well. But now with AI and OpenAI as a company that's just releasing a lot of this AI stuff that you're seeing all over the web, from content creation to their chat to DALL-E, this is going to help you train the model, or you can train the model more so with data on what people ask, what they're looking for, and also from things all over the web. So that way you can start running your chat, having it there 24/7, having a computer man it, and it can give much, much more accurate responses. And even Eric mentioned, even if someone is overseas and you're outsourcing chat, this can also help with making sure the responses are grammatically correct as well.
Yeah, this all comes down to earlier episode in maybe like 8 or 9 episodes ago, we talked about the time to value. And so when it comes to people land on your website, let's say they're looking at Nextiva, right? So people are looking for phone services. If someone's not answering they're not answering quickly, or they're giving the wrong answers, or they're answering in grammatically incorrect way, that's killing confidence, right? And everything about sales is building confidence, right? Like how confident are you? How are you consulting? Like how are you kind of answering your questions? Like how quick are you? And so a chatbot's going to allow you to do that now. To Neil's point, talk about training the data, building on your own data. Like the data is really what the value is long term, right? It's everyone's building on OpenAI right now. I don't know how. I love the guys at that are building all these like tools like Jasper and all that, but I don't know what the differentiator is long term if you don't have your own proprietary data to layer on. Once you do, like Nextiva, maybe they have all the help desk support stuff that's crawlable by search engines, but once they layer that in with other stuff that they have going on internally that's much more specific, especially sales related data, that's going to take them to the next level. And I bet you we're going to see their conversion rate skyrocket there. That's going to be scary because it's going to be a pretty deflationary thing, because that means a lot of jobs are going to be replaced.
Yeah. And look, test out these tools and more and more are going to come out. But the big thing that you're going to end up finding with this is right now it's not bad. It's going to get much, much better a year or two from now as these, let's say, call it OpenAI, keeps crawling the web and learns from everything. Google will eventually release their own version of it, which is our Eric and my take as well. And once they do, I think it'll get even better for marketers as well.
What's crazy too is I mentioned this on this pod before, but there's a Microsoft engineer that was like, it's going to take 2 to 3 years for this thing to take over or to beat the current version of Google. Here's the thing. I forgot that Microsoft actually put in $1 billion for OpenAI. So that could get really interesting as well. Bing could get a lot better.
I thought Microsoft put in like 2 billion, no?
You could be right. I thought it was 1, but who cares? It's over $1 billion.
You're probably right because you know more about the startup stuff than me, but I know Microsoft put in a ton of money. What we don't know is if it was cash or credits for Azure. But either way, they're well funded.
Yeah. I mean, the next couple of years are going to be really interesting. I think we're going to see marketing change a lot. So Bankrate, they are let's just call them a large financial advice website. They get millions of visits. And recently it was discovered that one of their articles, typically when they have an article that's written, they'll show the authors, right? And so I'm looking at a screenshot here, and I'm actually going to share my screen for those of you that are watching on YouTube. And so on the screen over here, where my mouse is, you can see it says article written by Bankrate, edited by Angelica, and then reviewed by Kate. So clearly they have an editorial team, but clearly it also says here, this article is generated using automation technology and thoroughly edited and fact-checked by an editor on our editorial staff. And so someone asked a question. They put the screenshot on Twitter. It was viewed about 80,000 times, probably more now. So you can see this person asking about it. And then Danny Sullivan basically responded and said, hey, look, as said before, when asked about AI, content created primarily for search engines rankings, however it is done, is against our guidance. If content is helpful and created for people first, that is not an issue. So we wanted to give our thoughts on this. So Neil, do you want to add any color here before we go into it?
Look, Google scrapes the web. They know when something is written by AI. The only way to really get around it is you have to end up editing it heavily. If Bankrate's editing it heavily, I don't really see an issue with it, but it actually kind of goes against some of the EAT or double EAT now, right? What is it? Experience, expertise, authority, and
trustworthiness.
Yep. In which, if it's written by AI, how do you know it's someone talking from experience or someone talking from expertise or authority or trust? And sure, people can end up reviewing it, but unless it's heavily modified and edited, I just don't see it doing that well over time.
So there's actually, I think after I read that one yesterday, there's actually another website really kind of cranking up their AI content. And I remember someone else told me an example of an an affiliate site that cranked out all AI content all of a sudden, and they were getting a ton of visits, and then that all tanked very quickly. And that reminds me of the days back when we used to use like a spinner, and then you'd spin up a bunch of content, the traffic would rise and it would fall apart.
Dude, what's funny is most people don't know this, but I wrote a blog post. We were talking about AI content and how effective it is. We have tons of AI sites. I think we're at well over 100 that we test on. Is traffic going up, down? A lot of times when they're doing algorithm updates, we actually see our AI sites not performing as well as manual written content. A good chunk of the AI sites are edited by editors before the content goes live. A portion of them aren't edited, but we see both of them not doing as well as people writing content manually.
Are you going to have a case study on this published?
We probably should.
Yeah,
we haven't. We've already talked about it and written a blog post on it and shared some data.
So I'm curious, like on the AI sites that you're doing right now, what is like the average length of an article? How in depth are they editing it? I'm just wondering like how deep it's going right now.
Yeah, so the edited ones we try to keep at least at 1,000+ words. The non-edited ones, whatever the AI writers spit out, sometimes they're 300, 400, 500 words. It really varies on the tool that you end up using, but we just find that it just doesn't generate as much traffic compared to manual.
Yep. So Danny Sullivan, here's another quote from him. So he said, we haven't said AI content is bad. We've said pretty clearly, content written primarily for search engines rather than humans is the issue. That's what we're focused on. If someone fires up 100 humans to write content just to rank, or fires up a spinner or AI, it's the same issue. And so I remember back in the day, so people used to use spinners, but also, what was that site called? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where they hired a bunch of people from India just to spin up a bunch of content. It was
No.
They went public and then everything tanked.
Oh, How Stuff Works?
Huh? How Stuff Works? No.
Demand
it could
Media?
be Demand Media. That's it.
Yeah, that's How Stuff Works. They own it.
So they used to hire, this is like, let's say 10 plus years ago. So this is old school, right? It's kind of the same idea. It's like they wanted #1 rankings for everything. So they hire people for pennies on the dollar and then spin up like hundreds or thousands of articles a month, right? And then what happened, they would, combine with these spinning softwares where like I could go to like Neil's site, take an article he has, and it would just change a bunch of words in there and that would actually rank, right? And the algorithms have gotten smarter. And now you have this, kind of the AI writers. And so that's kind of the next level, right? I would just say, I think you can use AIs to assist. I don't think you should use, maybe AI can assist 10, 20%, but you shouldn't have AI doing 80+% of the work. So do reverse Pareto principle here, and then it's going to be helpful, because I can see it being very helpful. Like we've been testing this internally right now to update our content. As long as our editors are watching it closely, AI is just there to help out at the end of the day and ultimately help us save time.
Totally agree. So look, at the end of the day, you're not going to really have a choice but to make sure that your content is valuable for humans. If it's not, you're not going to rank. There's already hundreds of thousands, if not millions of articles for almost all keywords, even though people will click on the top 10, really, sometimes top 20, very rarely top 30. So if your content sucks, it's not going to rank.
Let me ask you another question. On the sites that you're testing on these 100 on, what's like the average domain authority? Do you know?
I don't know, but we do build links to.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd be keen, like maybe we'll come back to this in like 3 to 6 months or so, because I know we're going to test the hell out of this, testing it on like high DA sites versus low DA sites. And, I know some people like, look down on that or don't really respect it, but hey, we're just going to use that as a metric. So that is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or on the pod. We're trying to grow faster this year. We're trying to take this thing to 5 million views a month. So by the way, if you want to do a impression trade with us, we're down to do it. So yeah, talk to you later.